We've seen great players like LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Kobe Bryant get all the praise and acclaim due to their talent and many achievements. But there are some under-the-radar basketball players who give their best to the team when called upon. They might not get a lot of playing time, but they tend to deliver whenever they step on the court. Who are these all-stars of the Pine? Watch on to find out. Who are the best NBA players who never got to play? Ronaldo Balkman, New York Knicks. Forward Ronaldo Balkman was formerly booed by New York Knicks suckers on draft day in 2006. Since then, he hasn't had important playing time. The most in his career was 15.6 minutes per game in his novitiate time. One too many seasons, Balkman has been buried on the end of the benches of the Denver Nuggets and New York Knicks, thanks to the depth both teams had at the forward position. He's a high-energy player with great protective instincts and speed down the court. During the coming Knicks shindig, keep an eye on Balkman as he can shine against alternate league competition. He had the potential to be one of the future stars, but unfortunately, everything didn't work out perfectly for him. Malcolm Lee, Minnesota Timberwolves. While this is anticipated to change within the coming many times, for now, shooting guard Malcolm Lee is deeply rooted on the Minnesota Timberwolves bench. But Lee brings great protective capability and athleticism to the table. He's also good at creating his own shot. He needs to work on his obnoxious thickness and his three-point range, but his stylish basketball is most probably ahead of him. It'll be during his work in blowouts that he can upgrade those aspects of his game. He'll easily be one of the stylish players in those situations until he eventually gains a spot in the team. Quentin Richardson, Orlando Magic. Shooting guard Quentin Richardson has spent 11 years in the NBA with 5 different brigades. His biggest problem, a lack of shooting accuracy. He's a great three-point shooter, but he is not harmonious enough to stay on the court long enough to showcase his protective capability. But as a player that is coming deep off of the bench, he is one of the better options in the league. However, with a loss of a couple pounds, he could be in the mix for the Orlando Magic if he could just get all of his pieces together. Jeremy Lin, New York Knicks. Jeremy Lin was one of the most sought-after free agents after not being drafted out of Harvard in the 2010 NBA draft. Since then, he has served as the third-string point guard for the Golden State Warriors and is now riding the pine for the New York Knicks. He has good ball-running chops, can drive to the circle, and can rebound the ball well. His biggest weakness is his lack of experience with the speed of the NBA as compared to Ivy League basketball. With experience, his end development rate will rise, but it's veritably clear that he possesses the gifts to be a solid backup in the NBA. For now, he'll have to settle for veritably limited playing time with the Knicks. Earl Clark, Orlando Magic. Earl Clark has been a member of the Orlando Magic and the Phoenix Suns doubly each. When looking at his obnoxious play, it's easy to see why he has switched brigades so frequently, but his protective capabilities are what keep him on NBA registries. Clark is an below-average protector against small forwards, and despite being fairly weak, he is also veritably good at defending power forwards. Still, he can be a team player for the Magic if he can ever develop any kind of good game. Until then, he'll simply help lead to strong protective dazes in blowouts and conceive of many fast breaks. Craig Smith, Portland Trail Blazers. Craig Smith brings a lot to the table for only being 6'7", but he has in no way been able to showcase much of it during his career. He is a veritably small power forward, but he understands how to use his size as an advantage. Despite that, his playing time has dropped each time of his career as his team got better and had lesser need for a small, big man. But when Smith takes the court, he's always one of the most effective players out there. Len Bias, Boston Celtics. Len Bias will always be flashed back as a lost legend of the NBA. When he was drafted alternate overall by the Boston Celtics in 1986, he represented the future. Bias could jump out of the spa at 6'8" and had the refinement in his game to put his physical gifts to good use. He was going to take the torch from Larry Bird in Boston and become the new face of Red Auerbach's platoon. What later happened shocked the sporting world, and the sport never remaining the same again. Cocaine overdose 2 days after the draft. Just like that, Bias was gone. The 22-year-old's bright future sniffed out just as he was beginning to celebrate it. But for a bad decision, he could have been the coming in a long line of Celtics greats. Rather, Len Bias went down as one of the best to never take the court. Sean Livingston, Los Angeles Angeles Clippers. Sean Livingston was going to revise the point guard position. Rather, he became a medical phenomenon. At 6 foot 7 inches, Livingston could see the court from angles that lower point guards could not, and he still had the swiftness and instincts to guard them. That is what induced the Los Angeles Clippers to pick him 4th overall in 2004, the foremost selection of a high academy guard in NBA history. Like numerous other fix-to-pro players, Livingston was still a design in his 3rd time, but he was showing sure signs that he could be LA's point guard of the future. Then he suffered one of the most disastrous knee injuries in sports history. Darius Miles, Portland Timbers. Darius Miles had natural capability, but he wasn't interested in anyone trying to educate him how to use it. The 3rd overall pick in 2000, Miles was an athletic freak who could run with anyone and had a nice handle for a small forward. That said, he was apathetic in defense and was not willing to work to make himself better, a major issue with a Joe with raw gift and little idea of how to stylish harness it. Unfortunately for all parties involved, he was a trainer's agony. Maurice Cheeks got the worst of it when he counseled Miles in Portland, where the choleric forward harried Cheeks with his rebellion. It's no surprise that Miles fell far short of his considerable eventuality. Nothing achieves NBA success alone, especially not when they are pushing away the people who want to help them. Greg Oden, Portland Timbers. It's a testament to Kevin Durant's greatness that he indeed made it a competition for the 1st overall pick in 2007. Greg Oden was just that good. Indeed, the strictest opponents of the fix-to-pro jump had to admit that Oden was NBA ready as a high academy elderly. He was a true 7-footer who had formerly filled out his frame well, indicating to scouts that his physical prowess and two-way dominance would restate to the coming position. Nevertheless, the powers that he mandated he spent a time at Ohio State, so he crushed the council competition too. Also, the Portland Trail Blazers got unlucky, committing to yet another foundation center who atrophied before their eyes. Microfracture surgery pushed Oden's debut back a time. A fractured patella took out utmost of the 2009-10 season, and innumerous other procedures followed, including 2 further microfractures. He showed signs of greatness when he was on the court, but since 2007, he has played just 82 total games. Drazen Petrovic, New Jersey Nets. Make no mistake, Drazen Petrovic was a great player. The NBA just did not get to appreciate him while he was there. Formerly a bona fide star in his native Yugoslavia, Petrovic was necessary in opening up the NBA to European players. Though he came off the bench behind Clyde Drexler and Terry Porter in Portland for his first 2 seasons, he parlayed a starting job with the New Jersey Nets into successive seasons, comprising 20 points per game and firing over 50%. Between his burgeoning NBA success and his Olympic play for Yugoslavia and Croatia, the world was induced of Petrovic's capability. On June 7, 1993, that glowing career came to an abrupt end. Petrovic was asleep in the passenger seat on a drive from Germany to Croatia when the auto was cut off on the Autobahn. The sleeping Petrovic wasn't wearing a seatbelt and was killed in the accident at age 28. It's insolvable to say how much further Petrovic would have fulfilled in the NBA. What's inarguable is that he'd the gift to show Americans that a European player could sustain greatness. We've come to the end of another episode, and though it saddens us, we must bid you adieu. But before we go, if you have any comments or views on the basketball players mentioned, or you know of any player worth mentioning, do so in the comment section below. We always love hearing from you. Our subscribe button is just 1 click away. Until next time, guys.